you guys, the Curious Owl here, and today I will be doing the mid-year freakout book tag. Wait until July usually to get this tag going because I think that personally, in my opinion, the halfway point of the year is at the end of June into the beginning of July. So I always wait until July to do this because that actually is when the halfway point gets, changed over. And yeah, but otherwise we've got a lot of questions that are pretty much standard for this entire tag, so we're just gonna go ahead and get started. The first question is the best book I have read so far in the year of 2024. Now, I actually have a bracket system set up for the best book of the entire year. But if we were to look at the bracket as it stands now, the top 3 books that I have are Fourth Wing, Amari and the Night Brothers, and Killers of a Certain Age. Now, if I was to pick out of those 3 in particular, I would go with Killers of a Certain Age. Now, we still have the second half of the year to go through, but as it stands now, that is my favorite book so far of 2024, which is not surprising because I absolutely adored that book. I ate it up almost in one full sitting, and it was just so much fun, and I highly recommend for any of you that love your mystery thrillers and kind of more spy-related novels. That one is heavy on the spy-related kind of content. The next question is to then pick the best sequel that I have read in the year of 2024. And I don't think I've read very many sequels. I have to refer to like my little shelf that I have of all the books I've read so far this year to see like what ones are sequels. I feel like those sequels usually is like the second book. So I'm gonna go with something that is like the second book in the series, which Iron Flame was definitely one that was really good. I think that might be the only sequel that I rated a 5-star this year. So yeah, I guess Iron Flame is gonna be that one. Next is a new release that I have not read yet, but I really want to. For that, I'm gonna go with Feybound by Sarah El Arifi. This got released at the early part of 2024, and I've yet to read it, but I'm so excited because I love Sarah's Ending Fire series, and I am just so excited for how this one was. I know there's been a lot of mixed reviews on this one in particular, with especially the romance that is involved in it, but I'm still excited nonetheless. This is probably one of my most anticipated novels of the entire year. Next is your most anticipated release for the second half of the year, which I have an anticipated releases spread in my bullet journal, and I have quite a few that are still yet to come out, but I think the one that I'm the most excited for is the book What Doesn't Break by Cassandra Claw, which is a book in the Critical Role universe. This is following one of our campaign 3 characters named Laudna, who is kind of like a undead necromancer, like sorceress basically. I have yet to read a Cassandra Claw book, but I am excited for this because I love the character of Laudna. As I've watched a little bit of campaign 3 from Critical Role, I'm very much behind on it. Like, I'm probably 80 episodes behind, which is ridiculous. But I haven't had the time to like get through most of the campaign. And this one though is gonna be more horror based, which I'm excited for because there's a lot of stuff, especially with this one, that's gonna delve into Laudna's backstory. And Marisha Ray, who is the person that plays the character of Laudna within Critical Role's campaign that's currently going on, she is very much going to be like involved in all of that, which most of the books that are in the Critical Role series that deal with characters that are from the campaigns, the people that play those characters in the campaigns actually are like huge proponents of that. Like Kith and Kin, which was Vexalia and Vaxildan from the first campaign with Liam O'Brien and Laura Bailey, they were heavily involved in the creation of the characters, with helping Marika Nijkamp with fleshing out the characters more, giving the backstory, things like that. But Marika Nijkamp was the one that really like created the story, and the same is going to go on for this one with Cassandra Claw. So I'm super excited because I would love to read something from Laudna, and I think this is coming out in October if I'm not mistaken, so it's a perfect spooky book. But whether or not I'm gonna get my hands on it, it's gonna be interesting because I'm currently in a book buying ban and will likely be in a book buying ban by that time, but nonetheless, still very excited for it. The next book is a book that was the biggest disappointment so far this year. Referring back once again to my little library stack spread. I think one of the ones I was the most upset about so far this year was probably the Jasad Heir. I was so excited for this one when Brandy decided to pick it for the book club for her membership group, and I wanted this so much to be ancient Egyptian inspired. That's what it was led to be like, was that it was going to be very ancient Egyptian inspired, but it didn't feel like that, and I was so disappointed with that because I feel like that there was such a missed opportunity with fleshing out this world a little bit more to make it feel like it was in ancient Egypt. Next is the biggest surprise I've had of the year. Now let's see, once again referring to my notebook. I feel like for the most part I wasn't really surprised by anything other than reading Killers of a Certain Age. I guess that one was probably one of my bigger surprises, was reading and finishing that one and loving it so much. I guess I just didn't expect to fall so much in love with Deanna Raybourd's writing, and I am now going to be on the hunt at my local library for more of her work because I was so shocked with just how easily I fell in love with this book. And I think that genuinely it was probably my biggest surprise of the entire year, just because I wasn't sure like whether or not I was gonna like it, and I, you know, have a hit or miss with mystery thrillers, but I was really surprised with how this one was, and I'm shocked that I even doubted something like this because it had all the things that I love, and for some reason I was still doubting it. Next is a favorite new author, whether it is a debut author from this year or just one that is new to me. And I think for this one, it's gonna be Deanna Raybourn. But there's also some other authors I've come across this year that I really like. Ashley Elston is another one with First Lie Wins. I loved that book so much. I definitely have really enjoyed Rebecca Yaros's writing at the very least for the Fourth Wing series. So that definitely is another one. I also really like Lyssa Kay Adams with the Bromance Book Club, B.B. Alston with Amari and the Night Brothers. There's quite a few. There's a lot of like newer authors that I've gotten into this year that I've really enjoyed. And honestly, like anything that's a 5-star that I've rated this year basically is probably going to be like a new favorite author to me basically. Next is my newest fictional crush, which I actually don't think I have one so far this year. I really have found a lot of interesting male characters over the course of time, but I wouldn't say that any of them are like crush worthy, which is kind of surprising because I feel like I'm usually one that swoons over male characters very easily, and I just don't think I found that this year, which is kind of disappointing to say the least. Next is my newest favorite character. Again, I don't know if I have one because I have so many great reads from so far this year, but I think my favorite cast is from Killers of a Certain Age. I think as a whole, that's my favorite cast, my favorite book from this year. I just don't think I could ever pinpoint it to one exact character. Next is a book that made me cry. I don't think I've come across this year so far a book that's made me cry. I do think I've had a lot of books that have made me swoon and very much fall in love again, like with reading, like Stars in Your Eyes by Kaysen Callender was one of them. Some Girls Do by Jennifer Dugan was another one. I feel like that there's a lot of like young adult contemporaries that I've come across recently this year where they definitely made me very swoony, but I wouldn't say it really make me cry. Next is the book that made me happy. Oh my gosh, all of my 5-star reads were books that made me so happy. So let me just go through all the 5 stars I've had so far this year because I've been talking about them like nobody's business. First we have Descender Volume 1, then Descender Volume 3, then Descender Volume 5 and 6, then the entire Ascender graphic novel series, which is Volumes 1 through 4, My Dear Henry, probably the closest one that I've cried at, Fourth Wing, Saga Volume 9, Iron Flame, Worthy by Jada Pinkett Smith, I Wish You All the Best by Mason Deaver, You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight by Kaylin Bayron, The Daughters of Izdahar by Hadir El Spy, reread A Court of Thorns and Roses this year, If I Was Your Girl by Meredith Russo, The Bromance Book Club by Lyssa Kay Adams, Amari and the Night Brothers by B.B. Alston, Stars in Your Eyes by Kaysen Callender, First Lie Wins by Ashley Elston, Some Girls Do by Jennifer Dugan, and the last 5-star book I read was Killers of a Certain Age. So There's been a lot of books that have made me happy this year. I had also a lot of 4-star reads, which are books that made me happy, but they just weren't perfect in some regard. But I definitely have had more 4 stars this year than 5 stars, which is pretty common for me, I find. It's a little bit more rare for me to find something that's a 5 out of 5 star, can do no wrong, you know, kind of thing. It's more that likely I will rate something a 4 star because I really enjoyed it, but it wasn't 100% perfect in my eyes. Next is the most beautiful book I've bought so far this year or received. I personally think that a book I got for my birthday that is the most beautiful cover I've seen is this one. This is called I Fell in Love with Hope by Lankali. This is a stunning cover. I love all the small details with like the flowers, and I love the 2 hands right here. Like, it's a beautiful cover. I absolutely love it. And then on the back, it has the flowers again. It's very simplistic, but it's very well done and very tasteful. And I feel like this is my prettiest book I have so far that I've gotten this year, that I received either for my birthday or that I bought previous to my book buying ban. The final question is, what are some books that you need to read by the end of the year? As I say every year when I do this, all my books. I need to read all my books. I'm actually in the process of a TBR project where essentially I am randomizing my TBR and reading something off of that, provided it's not a part of like an ongoing series that I'm doing or anything like that. So that's basically, you know, where my life is going. And for every book that I read on my TBR, I put $1 into a little savings collection basically, and that will be used to pay off some debt, hopefully. So yeah, that's basically all I'm doing in terms of like the rest of the books I need to read this year. But as always, I just need to read everything. That's always my goal, is to read as much as I can. So I feel like that question is like more so if like going with the anticipated reads, what you're wanting to read before the end of the year. But truthfully, I'm willing to read pretty much anything. There you guys go. That is all of the questions for the mid-year freak out book tag. I really enjoy this tag every year, and I love seeing everyone's results when it comes to this. So let me know what you guys answered down in the comments below for any of these questions if you're willing to share. If you don't necessarily have anything you want to share but want to let me know that you were here, just leave me the book stack emoji in the comments. That would be totally acceptable. But anyway, thank you guys so much for joining me. If you guys did enjoy this video, please do give it a big thumbs up. And if you haven't already and you'd like to be and would like to see more content like this, go ahead and hit that button down below and subscribe to become an owlet in our flock. And I will see all of you guys in my next video. Bye guys!